So, what are your reactions, impressions to this Real Canada program and taking part in it today?
I think it's a really great way to get Canadian films out there because, like, you don't often hear about, movies from Canada. Like, my dad's actually an executive producer. He's done a lot of Canadian films, and it's always been really depressing because I'll be like, "Hey, Dad, how'd that movie go that you're working on?" He's like, "Ugh, didn't do that well," and it's depressing really to see that all these great movies. Like, I've seen some of the stuff he did, like Flash of Genius. He did that. Like, it was really good, but it just didn't get out there enough, which I'd want to see more, which is why this is like a great thing. Like, he actually did Pontypool, which is playing here.
Well, I think it's also important to keep in mind with Real Canada that it's great to say that we're showing all these Canadian films, but I mean the film that they used as an example of Canadian films, the only connection it had to Canadian film was that the director was Canadian. But the film was about Mississippi. There were no references to Canada. And I think that that in itself is a statement about the Canadian film industry, because the films they're showing, they picked four. The films they're showing as the Canadian films are not even relating to Canada. I think for a film to be Canadian, it needs to be about Canada and needs to affirm something to Canadians about their country.
But if you think about it, I think the likelihood of a film that is about issues in Canada or about Canada itself and is by Canadian filmmakers is not going to do as well as a film like this, where we've got a huge Hollywood actor, and then it's a subject that is something about, even though it's international, it is a subject, I guess, that would intrigue people more, even though it's not about our country and it's not about the issues in our country. So I think on that perspective, it will do, I think, personally, I think it will do better.
Well, I guess also the thing is that if we're trying to come up with some way to judge Canadian films, I think we should judge them based on their quality and on how Canadian are they. I think to judge them, like you said, on their success, I don't think that's fair, because they won't do as well as the films about America because of the viewing audience. But I think with Canadian films, we have no choice but to judge them on the quality and not on how many people buy their tickets.
Would you say that, from participating in a program like this and being able to have access to these Canadian films and the filmmakers themselves, that it may have shifted some of your perceptions and maybe you'll seek out Canadian films more so now, or do you feel you still feel the same way you did?
My perception's definitely changed on it a little bit, because before, when you think Canadian films, because you never heard of them, you think, oh, they can't be as good as the American ones, because the American ones are the ones you always see. But after seeing a movie at Real Canada, you think, oh, that was actually really good. Why isn't this up out there with all the American films? But how do I put this? Help me out here.
I guess the thing that I got is I really got a sense that the Canadian film industry needs so much more support, because when the films that they're showing as the Canadian films are not about Canada, I think that's a statement about the industry. And I think we need to, as students, we need to use our voice to call on government and other groups to support the industry, because it's something that Canada needs.
I think still Canadian films are sort of, the mentality is that they're still sort of like foreign films, because we're still recognized as foreign by the award academies in the United States. So I think there's starting to be a shift in what people are getting interested in. They're tired that Hollywood is making a lot of remakes and things like that. So they're looking towards foreign films, and I think in the midst of these films, they're going to find Canadian films, and they're going to see that we have a lot of values, and then our audience, I think, eventually, where it's on the rise, I think it'll grow. So, there's a good outlook.